What's up? Justin, Poweroutfix. This video is to cover what is Poweroutfix, what's going on with the front of this bus, what's coming up next, and a light test. Okay, so brief spiel. There are tons of schooly vids, conversion vids, a lot of really awesome content and some great stories. However, there's just not a lot of focus on electrical systems. On top of that, there's a lot of misinformation and confusion of terminology out there. So my primary goal is to shed a little light on the subject and hopefully, secondary goal, show you guys some cool projects. Which brings us to the current project.
The Poweroutfix bus.
Or something like that. I am converting a schoolie into
a beast.
Nah, seriously. This thing's gonna be huge. It's a full front to back build, bottom to top. Alright. First thing, the headlight. We'll call it the main thing. I like this thing because it's an updated look. I love the black background. I love the daytime running lights, and the turn signals are built in. So, the overall goal, I want this thing to have a mean look on the front. So, to achieve that, add some black, add some lights, everybody's happy. It uses the standard old school light plug right there. So we're going to use that to test it, light it up. It also uses these cool little spade deals. That's for the turn signal as well as the daytime running light. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to rig this with my little desk setup. My negative and positive, I'm trying not to bump into one another. Let's see, if I remember right, this is a hot demonstration in the sense that I have not practiced this. I think that may be ground. Let's find out. Oh yeah. Okay, so, all right. We're looking at low beam and high beam. Freaking awesome. All right, now test the daytime running light and the turn signal. I'm gonna wrap this around there just to hold it a little bit. That's our ground. All right, let's see which is which. All right, so that's the daytime running light. I hope this shows good on camera. It looks like it's okay. All right. So, regular light, daytime running light, low beam, high beam, bright as crap, and turn signal. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. So guys, that's the headlight. And I think you can tell why I'm a huge fan of these types of lights. I'm actually going to, this is one of the marker lights. I should say replacement marker lights. Look there. LEDs. Damn near every light on this vehicle is going to be LEDs. They're easy to work with. They don't draw much power. They last on average, you're talking like 50,000 hours or something like that, which continuous use is something shy of 10 years or something like that. I haven't done the math on it. Okay. One thing I will possibly make a video of is wire color. There are standards in vehicles, standards in technology. There's a lot of standards and there's a lot of assumptions a person could make based on what industry they're stepping out of and into. the bottom line is wire color doesn't matter. You see, I'm using blue and white. These are actually attached to the black and yellow wires of a standard computer power supply. So maybe I'll do a video on that as well of how I'm doing my little desk setup. I like using the computer power supply because some of the LEDs I'm going to be adding actually run on 5 volts. And you generally don't find 5 volts inside of vehicles unless you're talking about sensors, anything that relates to the computers. So with this, white is ground, black is hot. That is that's a standard. Like most of the lights you find on a bus, a trailer, I'm not gonna say cars. I'm not gonna say trucks, like pickup trucks and all that. All that crap changes depending on the vehicle manufacturer, the literally year, make, and model. Or I guess in this case, the year and model. They tend to shift things from time to time, but also depending on certain trucks, like I've seen some like Ford F-150, stuff like that, for the most part maintain the same wire coloring, but don't hold me to that. That's not 100% true. There's some guy out there that all he does is works on, he works on Fords, and now he's gonna be pissed off because I made it sound like it's simple. It is not. I respect you, guy. Appreciate what you do. Anyway, figure out a creative way to touch these without making sparks. So that's white. And there we go. So it's going to be a cool little update. I hate those amber lights that are on top of the bus. Little tinted cover and everything. That's going to be great. This is actually going to be a later deal. I'm adding, I guess you will say, an above the driver seat, driver area, kind of sleeper area. Like I'm extending the height of the bus, probably around 3 feet or so. It sits around 10 feet. Tractor trailers sit around 13 feet 4 inches. So I'm aiming for about 13 feet 2 inches or less. So I got to do some measurements from the ground up and everything. But there is going to be a sleeper area above the driver. So when I do that, I'm building like one of those, I guess you would say, the big rig tractor trailer, Peterbilt Freightliner, the air dam, air deflector, whatever you would like to call it. Not all trucks have them, but pretty much most trucks these days with a sleeper has that round portion I'm talking about. Got this cool idea to use the rear door because I'm going to be removing it. I'm going to take the window out of it and the 2 rear windows on the rear of the bus. I'm going to end up using those on the front of the bus. So that's going to be another cool project. All right. Next. And this is for me, I love LEDs. I love LED strips. This is going to be the coolest thing for me. And I'm actually using 4 of these. 4 of these. There's going to be 2 on each side. 1 above. So I'll say 2 on each side. 1 above the headlight assembly. 1 below the headlight assembly. On the actual bus, there's a turn signal here. So I'm kind of engineering this as I go. That turn signal just has the standard amber color. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that with this updated style. But if I don't like it, I have 2 options. I've been playing around with epoxy. I suck at it right now, but it's okay. I think I can use it to tint that amber in a creative kind of way. So I may do that. That's not a promise. The more logical option is to just find a tinted headlight, or I'm pretty sure I have window tint laying around. I may just tint it myself. We'll see how the rest of this turns out, and maybe that'll be a thing. But anyway, let's light this thing up. So you remember on this little thing, black was the hot wire, white was ground. That is no longer true. Black is going to be negative, and then we have two positives. One is the positive for the daytime running lights, which I don't think I've mentioned. The daytime running lights will have a switch because I don't want them on all the time. Just because the bus is running doesn't mean I want lights lights on drawing attention to me. So when I'm parked and not about to move or just, I'm going through a parking lot or something. Okay, yeah, leave the lights on. Good safety feature. If I'm parked, nobody's around, nobody's coming around, let's keep it that way. I want to be able to turn the lights off. So there will be a switch, and I'll try to draw a little diagram, show you guys how this will work. So, dun, dun, dun. Very, very nice glow. So this thing, it just goes constantly if I leave it hot. I think when it's attached to the turn signal, I can't tell exactly, but it might have a circuit in there that times it to the particular light, because not all turn signals flash on and off at the same rate. Older vehicles tend to have mechanical flashers. That's where the comes from. But a lot of newer vehicles, they've actually done away with the mechanical flasher, and it just comes straight from the computer, or some of them call it a body control module or whatever. Thing with that is they still wanted people to know that their turn signals were on, and the mechanical turn signal actually makes the click click sound naturally. Well, once they started going to a computer, obviously a computer doesn't make any sound. So they added a little speaker, and if you listen to some vehicles, it's actually pretty damn cheesy. Like, it sounds like a horse skipping down a cobblestone road, if that makes sense. I don't respect it, but I'm not knocking anyone for it. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Let me real quickly sketch out this wiring for you. Guys, I have never been good with my hands. Good enough with technology, musical instruments, stuff like that. However, drawing does not compute. It's beautiful inside my head. However, once it hits paper, I cannot guarantee the results. If you want to end the video here, thank you. Let's call this a headlight. We'll call this a headlight. Put a little thing there. Little thing there. The grill. Alright, so this is pretty much what the front of this thing started like. If you can imagine these being headlights, these being turn signals, this being the grill. If you hop over to Instagram, that's where I'm going to be putting a lot of little micro stuff, like along the way type stuff is what you'll see on Instagram. You'll see that I started messing with the international emblem, adding LEDs to it. Some people will call them neopixels. I can't remember the actual number. It's like WS 1128 or something like that. Some people in a niche market will know about. So these are going to be our updated headlights. And here, oh, this sucks. are going to be those strips. The way I'm doing it on the thing, I came up with the bright idea to try to embed the lights in the hood, and I'm following through on that. Right now, it kind of looks like crap, but the end result should be pretty awesome. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be terribly particular. And the reason it doesn't have to be particular is I'm painting this entire bus in truck bed liner. I love the texture. You've seen people with Jeeps and everything. I think it looks cool. Probably be black, blue, maybe white. Anyway, the whole front of the truck is going to be black. It's going to be blacked out with the bright white LEDs and everything. The light up international logo. I'm excited about it. Okay. So with these, I'm fiberglassing. I'm also going to use epoxy. And the same color of the strip here, that opaque white, I guess you would call it. That's the effect I'm going to go for with the epoxy. And then I'll just paint it to make it more even, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, when I do the epoxy, I'm not taking the time to get it perfect. So this thing might end up looking like that. When I paint the bus, it doesn't matter what the overall shape of that light is, because I can tape it off and paint it into the exact shape I want it, if that makes sense. I don't know how much of that you guys were able to see trying to multitask here. But anyway, I can shape these things. It can start out kind of weird like that, but then I can turn into something that's a perfect shape. I can't call it a rectangle or anything like that because there's curves in it, but you know what I mean. Okay, so with the lights, when you're planning an electrical system, you got to keep in mind which wires do what and what functionality you want down the line. If you want to be able to, let's say, like I was saying with the daytime running lights, I don't like mine being on all the time. Maybe some people love it. Anyway, I had to plan for a switch, so you have to know that before you install these things. Don't install it and then say, oh, by the way, I want to. Nah, it's going to add stress to you. It's going to make you backtrack. And 9 times out of 10, it will not look the way you meant for it to look. All because you had to go back and add that 1 or 2 wires. Let's just get it right. So, we're going to do... And yes, I'm redrawing these because it doesn't matter what the actual bus looks like, but just one side. Okay. Headlight has high beam. It has low beam. It has the daytime running light. And it has the turn signal, which I put left. It's not even left, it's really right, but it doesn't matter. Turn signal. Okay. So if all I was doing was adding the headlight, you would take the wire from the turn signal, connect it to there. The daytime running light, you still have to add a positive input. Like I said, mine would be coming from a switch. All right, so mine's a little bit more complicated because of these daytime running light strips. The daytime running light strips have the daytime running light, positive, and let's just do turn, which is also positive. The grounds will all be connected. So let's say my switch at the dash We won't talk about fuses and relays or anything right at the moment, but some of that may be involved with this. We'll see. Anyway, our positive supply, just wherever the power is coming from, goes into the switch. The switch, which we'll also call okay. So when it turns on, positive comes here. We want this to connect to this one. We also want it to connect to this one. And it's going to be duplicated on both sides, and it can be the same wire. It can be the same wire for the daytime running lights because they all work in unison, but it has to be a different circuit for the turn signal. I debated on whether or not I wanted to disable the turn signals, but there's no real reason. I'm just going to let them light up. If I have the turn signals on, I want the, want the pretty lights to dance. So, this wire that goes to the left turn inside the headlight would also tie in. Boom. So it's not actually complicated. These, the low beam and high beam, we don't worry about those. They're on a connector. They are built in. They will do their own thing. We don't run another circuit. We don't add another switch. Literally, you plug it in right now. It will function as a headlight. So, I'm not going to double this up, but I hope that makes sense. This will be like a battery, a fuse box, breakers, so it could be a relay or something. Anyway, the power comes out of this supply, goes into the switch. You choose whether or not you want the switch on or off. When the switch is on, positive gets sent to both of our daytime running light inputs. It's that simple. I'm going to go work on getting the actual hood done with the lights in it, and I'll make some cool videos of, like, if you're curious on how to connect these, how to connect them properly, where basically properly is if it needs to be worked on, can I work on it? Do I catch hell taking it apart? Stuff like that. Also, is it protected from the elements? Some things are heat sensitive. Something, and heat can be engine, it can be exhaust, it can be sunlight. So you gotta, environmental things to where it is on the vehicle. You gotta take that into consideration. You don't want to mount something at the bottom of the vehicle that's sensitive to water when you know good and darn well that thing is gonna run through all kinds of water, dirt, mud. Like, that stuff actually gets inside those little boxes like these. And once everything starts to corrode, you get some weird stuff. You start wondering why the turn signal doesn't come on at all, to, it half comes on, and then, one piece of it comes on, and then, it kind of glows a little bit at night. Yeah, all of that is because of moisture, water, dirt. Don't let it happen. If you prevent that, these cheap products, I'm not going to say where it came from, these cheap products can last. You just got to make them last. Don't abuse them. Undue stress. That's what my automotive teacher used to tell me. The worst or the most damaging thing for any machine is undue stress. Granted, these are electrical, but there's similarities. We're not going to go into that. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is the first video. Maybe I ran on a little long. Doesn't matter. Either you like it, you don't. I hope you do. If you do, come back. I got more. Thank you.